What's going on, guys? Welcome to an RGT News Quickie. Basically, this happens when something interesting in the world of video gaming happens. I want to talk about it, and I don't want to wait for an RGT News episode. I do an RGT News Quickie. So this is actually a pretty interesting story based on an emulator. Obviously, whenever a system comes out, hackers and people out there always want to make emulators for the system. I think every system that's out there has an emulator in some way, shape, or form, mostly used for preservation, sometimes used for cracking and piracy things, but it's always interesting to see emulator developments. Now this one is actually pretty big because it's for the Nintendo Switch. Now this system's been on the market for about a year, and now we're starting to see emulators come out for the system. Back in about February, Ryu Jinx came out for the PC as a Nintendo Switch emulator. Now initially, it was not able to do much of anything, much like any emulator that's brand new is. It was able to run some homebrew stuff and some different emulators on the emulator of other systems such as the Sega Genesis and whatnot, but it wasn't able to run any commercial games. And while it's still not able to fully run commercial games, there's actually been a big breakthrough involving this emulator. Cave Story is now able to be booted on this PC emulator and be somewhat played. It's obviously very choppy right now. I'll have some footage up on the screen, including a link to the original video in the description box down below so you guys can sort of see it in action. But it is interesting to see Cave Story, the Nintendo Switch version, running on this platform. There's also some Puyo Puyo Tetris footage out there, but unfortunately it freezes whenever it gets to the Tetris logo. But these are two retail commercial games for the Nintendo Switch that are running on this emulator. And considering that the Nintendo Switch is basically based off of a Tegra X1, it's not too surprising to see these emulators really gaining steam already. Of course, the Nintendo Switch was hacked a few months ago. I did a video on that talking about the hacks of the system and what you could do. People are already running emulators on the system. There's things like the Genesis, the Super Nintendo, the NES, the Jaguar that are up and running on Nintendo Switch emulators. But commercial games are a whole different breed of gaming. You know, the PS4 emulators that are out there right now cannot really run commercial games, even though the PS4 has been out for quite a while now. But the Nintendo Switch, which is with its different architecture, being basically a Tegra X1 that's been modified to be a Nintendo system, I think you're going to see emulation really move fast on the system. I think you're going to see it grow substantially within the next year or two. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because emulation and homebrew stuff is actually very good. Now, of course, when you talk about the piracy of things and playing retail games that you do not own on these emulators, of course, that is a gray area. Red flags pop up. And you have, you know, the whole piracy issue. You're pirating a game or downloading a game that you do not own and playing it on the system. But I think it's actually very interesting. And I know a lot of people are going to be in the comments saying one thing over and over again, that this is going to potentially hurt Nintendo Switch sales. You obviously saw Wii U emulation pretty much skyrocket with CMU. It was, you know, huge, and now people have complete Wii U libraries on their PCs because of CMU and how fast that came along. But I actually think this won't hurt the Nintendo Switch too much for one main reason, and that is the whole point of the system. The whole point of the system is a system that you could take with you on the go and play at home. And being it that this is an emulator for the PC, yes, you could run it on a laptop or something, but I don't think it's going to be very user-friendly on a laptop. You obviously do not have touchscreen controls on your PC yet as well in this emulator. A lot of PCs and laptops do have touchscreen controls nowadays, so that could be patched in. But I really think the whole point of the Switch is the portability aspect of it. Lugging around a big laptop or sitting at your computer desk, while it might be fun to try out some of these games, I don't really foresee it being a long-term solution for Nintendo Switch gameplay. So I wouldn't be too worried about this. Some people get worried whenever emulators come out. Oh, it's gonna make the system not sell well. People aren't gonna buy games. The system is gonna fail, etc., etc. I don't think that's gonna be an issue with this, primarily because of what the Nintendo Switch is designed to do. The Nintendo Switch is designed to be taken with you. The Nintendo Switch is designed to be a home console that goes with you on the go. That's not big and bulky, something that you could just take out if you have a little case for it. Unlike a laptop or a PC, you know, it's nothing to really worry about, but it is very interesting to see how fast the development of this emulator is going along. And I'm really just curious about things like this. I find it very fascinating to see how quickly people are able to code different things and get prototypes of emulators up and running for the Nintendo Switch already. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about with you guys today. I think it's just fascinating. I don't think emulation is necessarily a bad thing. I've actually used emulators before to purchase old games, to decide which games I wanted to purchase. Of course, there are people that use it for other reasons, but to each their own, in my opinion. Emulators can be a very good thing, especially when it comes to game preservation. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think of Ryu Jinx, if you've checked it out, if you know anything about it, and what sort of development that's going on with the system. I'll have some links to Ryu Jinx in the description box if you want to download it or check it out. I'm not going to tell you how to set it up or anything, because honestly, I don't know. I will never use the emulator. It's not something I plan on using or plan on checking out personally, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are interested in the development of the emulator, myself included, because I don't know, it's cool to talk about. So thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications as well. If you really enjoy my face, make sure you check out all the links in the description box down below. We got Patreon, t-shirts, social media, all sorts of fun ways to keep up to date with the world of RGT85, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Thank you for checking out this RGT News Quickie. Later.
RGT85! RGT85! RGT85!